Moving along, let's do the 6-petal design. And again, these are basically just the same thing. The only real difference you're going to have is that you need a little more wire and also a little bit thinner gauge, because when you're adding another petal around the circle here, you need to make tighter angles to fit it all around, and that's easier to do with a smaller gauge wire. So as it says in the materials below, you're going to need 2 strands of 22 gauge, dead soft, and they're each going to be about 5 3/4 inch long. Okay, and we're going to start off exactly the same as the first design, gripping in about 1 inch and making that first sharp bend, and flattening that on out. And you'll find it's easier to work with this thinner wire. It's much more pliable. Okay, and we're going to make our second bend about 1 centimeter in. Again, the same amounts as the first pair we made. Okay. Now, when you're making more of these points, you want to keep going until you have 5 going up, and then your 2 tails. So let me fast forward onto that. Okay, so here we are with all our points made, and again we're going to have 5 going up, and then the 2 tails. And same as before, we're going to stretch this out, just like an accordion. I love doing that, it's so fun. I'm not sure why. It's just very satisfying, stretching that out. Alright, and next we're going to take our round nose pliers, and same deal as before, we're just going to kind of make those bends, you know, not quite so harsh. And again, same as before, we're going to start making those petals by just curving that in nicely. Okay, and one note with these, you're going to need to put the petals a little closer together, again, just because we're trying to fit more around that virtual circle, if you will. Alright, so I'm going to go around and finish curving all of those points in. Okay, so here we are, and I have finished making all the petals, and again I just did with the tails the same thing as before, bending them on over to make that little X up here, and I just gauged how much to do that based on how big the other petals were. Okay, so just like before, I'm going to grab the right below the X on the shorter tail, bend it straight over, grab right below the X on the longer tail, and push that straight up. Okay, and I'm going to flip this over here. Then I'm going to grab that shorter tail, just like so, and start wrapping it around. And for these 6-petal flowers with the thinner wire, I like to wrap it around 3 times as seen from the front. So let's do one more. Okay, and so let's clip that off and snug that down right around the back there. And again, just like with the first one, at this point I'm going to take my, first we're going to bend this on over. Then I'm going to take my round nose pliers and again wrap that on around. Make a nice circle. And once you have your second one, you would compare it at this point to make sure you get them both the same height. For the first one you're making, you wouldn't need to do that, but I kind of cheated and already made the second one here. Okay. And that's a little crooked, so I'm just going to straighten it on over a little bit. And again, you would just make your second one exactly the same way. So you had two. And then you could either finish these by hammering them on a steel bench block to give it some more strength, flatten it out a little bit. Or you could very simply go ahead and just finish them off with French hook ear wires. Just be looping them in, and then you'd go ahead and close that shut again. Okay? So I'm going to hammer these out real quick, and then I will be back and show you how to add a beaded drop dangle right below this. Okay, so these would make perfectly good earrings as they are, very cute, but if you wanted to, you know, fancy them up a little bit or add some color, you could quite easily put a bead or a stone dangling right below the last petal here. So say, for instance, I have these two ovalish purple beads. They are glass, so quite simply what I would do is take some 24 gauge dead soft wire, and the length you cut is going to depend on the size of your bead. I usually like to have about the length of the bead plus maybe a little over an inch, say. So what we're going to do is grip the very end of this wire with our round nose pliers and just turn this until we get two complete circles right on top of each other. If I can get this to focus for you. There we go. And that is simply going to keep this from going all the way through your bead. Just like so. Okay? And then next we're going to grip right above the bead and bend it sideways, bend the wire sideways. Okay? Scooch up right above that bend and grab it with your pliers. And now you're going to make a circle, just like so. Just like that. And at this point we're just going to pop this on over the bottom of your flower. Okay? Now to close that, I'm going to take my chain nose pliers and I'm going to grab this loop so that I'm holding both, maybe this angle will be better for you, so that I'm holding both ends of the wire. The one going into the bead and the one going off sideways. Okay, so I'm going to transfer that to my other hand. I'm going to grab my second set chain nose pliers. I'm going to take a hold of this this noose tail. I'm going to start wrapping it around tightly now around the post there. And once you get it wrapped around a little bit, you can switch to using just one pair of pliers. Just kind of snug it around bit by bit. And I'm simply, sorry about that, I'm getting out of frame here. I'm simply going to keep going down until I reach the top of the bead. Alright, And at that point, I'm just going to take my flush cutters and trim it off right there. And again, just snug out that last little end so there are no sharp bits on your jewelry. So there you have it. And you would just do the exact same thing with your other bead on your other earring. Again, this is a great style because you can add really anything you want below. Very versatile. Perfect for spring. In fact, these even do double duty. I have found with the 6-petal design, as we know snowflakes have 6 points, and so if you, instead of making this gentle curve, make a sharp bend right in the middle, so it's kind of like a diamond shape petal, if you will, that you can even get away with it looking like a snowflake for winter jewelry. But for now, I have had plenty of snow for the year and I'm ready for spring. So we're going to stick with flowers. Alright, well I hope this tutorial was helpful for you. If you have any questions or ideas for future tutorials that you might like to see, feel free to leave them below in the comments section. And stay tuned for more fun and simple jewelry tutorials.